In the yellow submarine. What happened? Hello and welcome to. Today is Saturday. I didn't do yesterday. I did mean to do Friday Jam, but it's a long story. Check this out. This is from, and I want you to be able to see it, but without it being too shiny. There it's shiny looking, right? But here you can see it better. See this? This is from Bob Henry, a Bonzoleum, Bonzology, PFOZ fan. Thank you, Bob. This really is wonderful. Look at that. This is 19. Let's call this 71, baby. They're the giant beats. Those, of course, could be 15-inch giant beats or 15-inch 602 soundage hats. From this era, there's the gong. Here they are, the green sparkle, and there's Bob Henry. Thank you, Bob. You're the Pope. You're the Pope. That's a phrase used sometimes. It's a colloquialism. You're the Pope. All right, hang on. And thanks again to Daryl. Daryl, I gave those. I left the 2 books in the magazine and stuff with George the other day. I hadn't seen George for a couple months, so he's got it. He's perusing them. He of course has one of the books. You know George. He's got all kinds of stuff. But Daryl, of course, was fortunate enough to see Dag. When you see Dag drums, he saw Zeppelin in person a few times. So God love you, Dag. So here I am. Here we are on Bonzoleum Studios, which I have to straighten up. You know, I'm kind of sick. I think like everybody. Aren't you sick of looking at like the same thing here? I am. All right, so here's the update, all right? As we know, I ordered the classic maple Black Galaxy from Ludwig. It's 24 by 14. Well, 14-inch depth, 9 by 13, 16 by 18. I love an 18-inch floor tom. I really love the 13-18. You know what I mean? And but so what happened was, as I mentioned before, there was a problem with the finish when they came here, when I unboxed them here at the house. So now in waiting, I decided to take this opportunity. Now bear with me here, okay? I know a lot of people, like with me, they were waiting. I said it was like Christmas Eve. They're waiting for the drums, But bear with me, please. Be patient. Remember also, too, I'm kind of a skull, and I'm also ADD. I'm an ADD skull. I'm a scad. But here's the deal. Now, I mentioned this when I first ordered the drums, and those who know me will really know this because I talked about it a lot with them. I was on the fence at the time when I was going to first order these drums last year. What happened was I was going to order them last May, a year ago, and I put it off. But I was on the fence between getting my Black Galaxy Classic Maples. And again, I firmly believe that the Classic Maple line from Ludwig is the best sounding drum set on the market today. Tunability and everything. I mean it. But that doesn't mean to say everything else is crap. I mean, of course. I mean, it's not binary. You know what I'm saying? But last May, I was amazed. Ludwig had come out with a kit called the NeuSonic. Okay, so there's a lot of competition in the mid-price range with a lot of companies. But what Ludwig decided to do was come out with a made in USA, like mid-upper line kit. So instead of just the Legacy 2 lines, and then the Classic Maple, and then of course the Keystone. Yeah, those are made in USA too, right? And as are the Club Date. I sure wish the Club Date. They didn't use the Imperial when they reissued the Club Dates a couple years ago with the flat Imperials, which they used the regular. Anyway, they should have saved those Imperials for like the top of the line cool snare drums that came out, and then later, a little while later, came out with the Imperial lugs and put them on drum sets. And they still think they should use the big Imperial lug. You'd see on the bass drums. Those would look cool on floor toms too. So it's not so Club Date-y with the big space of the right. But anyway, I digress. Those NeuSonics, and they're priced about half the price of the Classic Maple, still made in the USA. They're kind of like what is the name of the freaking car? Subaru, which has gotten real popular now. It used to just be California, Colorado. People had their Subarus. Or people who were like, what, Subaru's a great car. It's not that expensive. It's 4-wheel drive. It's a great car. It was like the utility. It was like the Swiss Army knife of automobiles. Well, the NeuSonics are kind of like that. The finish that they put on, they have I think they have 5 finishes. Now, originally they had black. They had like a maple cortex-y kind of finish. They had blue and then white, okay? Because it's they don't want to compete directly with the Classic Maple, even though it's a different animal. And they just came out, I think, with like a red one. But it's really more like a raspberry sort of coral red. So in a way, they sort of dumb the colors down a little, so there's not too much to choose from. But they're like the Swiss Army knife of drums in a way, in the sense that like that finish that they put on these new Sonics. Okay, it's not NEW Sonics, it's NEU, sort of like Neumann. You know what I mean? Like NEU, like hello Newman kind of thing. So what is it? NEUSONIC. But the drums are made of maple and cherry. Okay, so 3 outer plies, I just looked this up. 3 outer plies of maple and 3 inner plies of cherry. They look really cool. The shells are real thin, too, almost like Tama's Star Classic-y. And the shells look even to be slightly undersized, too, something that I'm very fond of. Anyway, I was on the fence last May. I got a quote on both. I got a quote on the Classic Maple and then a quote on the new Sonic. And I was going to get a 14 by 20, 8 by 12, 9 by 13, 16 by 16, and 16, or 14 by 14, and 16 by 16. Sort of like a Ginger Baker setup, but just with one bass drum. And so I was on the fence, and then, of course, August rolled around, time went by, and suddenly it was January again, and I decided to pull the trigger, and ultimately, I, of course, went with the Classic Maple that I've been yapping about. Great drums. But what happened was I took the opportunity of, since the drum finish was blemished on the Black Galaxy, and they were remaking them. It takes time, you know what I mean? They make them, they're handcrafted, you know what I'm saying, in the USA. I took the opportunity, I canceled the order on the Classic Maple. And it wasn't like, oh man, just cancel. It wasn't like that. It was kind of like, well, they were kind of like, well, what do you want us to do? I was kind of like, because I'd been thinking about these new Sonics for a couple of reasons. One, they sounded so great, but I do have a fetish for a 20-inch bass drum. I mean, a 26 and a 24 and a 22, they all have their place, especially in Bonzoleum, right? So what I did was I canceled the order of the Classic Maples, the Black Galaxy. Now, I'm not, at some point I will get those again. I will. It's almost like it wasn't meant to be. You know what I mean? But I ordered the 14 by 20, 8 by 12, 14 by 14 floor tom. Like what do they call it? What's that? The downbeat? They call it the downbeat back in the day. And they're coming Monday. It's like, oh yeah, well there they are. Monday, made in USA, but a black Cortex, which is almost indestructible. Again, I started to say this and I cut myself out because I am a skull in ADD. I'm a SCAD. That the finishes, they apply the finish to the flat pieces of wood and then they form it into a shell. They don't form the wood into a shell and then put the finish on. Do you understand? This is like the old days. Back in the 60s, that's what Ludwig used to do. They'd have all the plies of wood here and they'd put the finish on the outside. And then they'd roll the whole thing into the shape of the drum. And the finish, they'd have a scarf joint, would go into the wood. Do you know what I mean? That's why it's such a pain in the ass to get those old finishes off. Well, that's what I got coming. I mean, a 14 by 20, 8 by 12, 14 by 14. It's also tax season. I got fortunate, too. We owed a little more taxes this year. So I am, instead of paying, like the $2,200 for the Classic Maples, I'm only paying, well, and here's the other thing, too. There was a coupon. Interstate Music, often does, like, out of Milwaukee, a 20% off kind of thing. But they didn't have the black Cortex in stock. My Dudesicles at Sweetwater did. Now, I'm not familiar with Interstate or Sweetwater, okay? But Sweetwater more or less honored the coupon from Interstate. They didn't directly, but they said, well, let's see what we can do. And they said, well, Mr. Keating, we have it for X amount. It was under 900 shipped. And they're coming Monday. So that's what I'm going to set up in front of it. So, look, I sincerely want to apologize to my subscribers. We're really waiting for the Classic Maple. I will eventually get a Classic Maple back down here. I don't know if I'm going to do the Black Galaxy. Part of the thing was when I saw the Black Galaxies in person, and a fellow at Ludwig did tell me, it's like, the Black Galaxy isn't as numerous. The old Black Galaxy from the old days was very evenly, like there was a lot of sparkle in it. He's like, the Black Galaxy we do this way, it's from Delmar. That Ludwig doesn't make it in-house. It's a lot more sparse, you know what I mean? Which in a certain way is kind of cool. I kind of like the idea of more black. But it was a little kind of too sparse for me, too. That was one of the decisions, too, that led me to sort of back away from it. But I can't wait to get these drums. And I will also demonstrate how you can get a Bonzo-y type sound. Remember, it's in the tuning and not a whole lot of muffling, okay? You'll slightly muffle the bass drum, but the toms are open, flat up open, man. And it's the way you hit them with rim. So I'm excited about it. I am thrilled. I don't know about you, but I am. This is Monday. So there'll be the unboxing. I'm going to set them right up, and I'm going to play them for at least, said that before, I was going to play the Classic Maples for at least an hour. I might have to make the video with my iPhone, though. Remember, an iPhone, at least my iPhone 6, has great sound and a nice picture. It really does. It's not as juicy as this piping hot condenser mic, my MXLV 250. But what I'll do, that way I'll be able to conceivably, with my iPhone, when I load it into the computer to put the video up, it could be 4 hours long. Whereas here with I have a Nikon camera, I can only get, at most, apparently now I've looked into it, 30 minutes in a row before I have to stop the camera and start it back up. There might be a way around that, which of course would be at the expense of the fidelity of the picture. So I'm just thrilled about it. You know what I mean? So anyway, so right now what I still have here left is that my 14x22 Silver Sparkle, 60 Silver Sparkle Ludwig 3-ply, my 12x15, I'll get up there with the camera and float them around. This is a tenor drum. Remember, I love those 12x15, 12x17 Ludwig tenor drums. And I said 12x17. You can still get 17-inch heads. Stand by. Give me a sec. And then this tom I have here is a 9x12 Pearl Visions VSX in their version of Champagne Sparkle. It's a cool finish. But they tape those finishes onto the drum. They're not glued. Anyway, so here we go. Look. Hang on. Time out. There they are. All right. That's that. So let me just play a little. And thank you for everyone being patient on waiting for these Ludwigs. You know, you order them and then they make them. You know what I mean? They're in demand, man. Ludwig's has made a comeback. And a lot of younger dudes playing Ludwig now. And gals. Seriously. I mean, younger people playing Ludwig. All right, so here I will put screw it. I won't put that on. All right, so here we are. Here's my, until I can get a 6.5x14 8-lug aluminum snare out of Ludwig, I have to settle for my Indy. And I did put Ludwig, look at those flat Imperials. Now those are the old variety. More art. Back in the day, in the 30s, when Con first came out with these Imperial lugs, the design was a little different than what you started to see in the early 60s, okay? So, and the snare wires I have on are just generic 20 strand. I have an Evans level 360 snare side, and then the Indy, this is the head that came with it, which I believe is an Aquarian. Which is, because it says Aquarian. All right, so I hope everybody's good. Again, thanks, Bob, for sending that picture. Let me show it one more time. Look at this. What if Bob turns out to be Banksy? Seriously, what if they find out like Banksy was this guy, Bob Henry, out of... Think about it. Here it is. Mr. Keating. Bob Henry here again. Encloses my gift to you for giving great lessons in your videos, being such a huge fan of our hero John Bonham, your love of Ludwig drums, and being an ambassador of the drumming community in general. Something myself and curator artist of sorts. I fancy myself a caricature artist of sorts. I do a lot of drum-related art, but this one is for you. Keep up the awesome work and take care, Bob Henry. Now, if you ever want something like this, Bob Henry is his name. John Henry Bonham, Bob Henry's Bonham kid. So if he turns out to be Banksy, this is worth a cool couple mil. Thanks, Bob. All right, so let's just play the drums a little. And again, thanks to Dag again for sending those books and magazines. I also want to say, I forget his first name because it was a while back. A fellow also sent me a Ludwig cowbell, which was very cool of him. I thanked him by name in another video a while back, but I want to thank him again for that. As well as, who else? Oh, and then someone else sent me some Zeppelin and Bonham posters. God, I can't believe your names don't come to me. Someone else also, there were a few things that were sent to me, and I really appreciate it. I don't advise sending stuff to me because I don't want to put you through that. You know what I mean? Really, I appreciate you doing it. You know what I mean? If you want to send me anything, if you're a New York bond trader that's worth $10 trillion, send me a suitcase of hundreds. No, but here we go. So check this out. Ready? So adjust your toggles. Let me turn a little reverb on here. Let me do this. Let me know. I got my front mic out there, which is another MXL. Let me know how this sounds. Let me turn down that. Let me know. The cymbals should sound better from a distance. This mic position here over my shoulder is great for the drums, but the hat comes across really loud, and being so close and sort of on top of the cymbals come across nice, but can have, remember, cymbals typically you want to rely on microphones that are a little further out. Okay? All right, so let's just play. Again, I hope everyone's having a great weekend. This is my Peisty Sound Formula Thin Crash Frankenstein. This is Bob's reissue 18-inch Giant Beat. I think this is the first one they had at the Chicago Drum Show when he bought them there. This is like the first one they, well, not, I won't say had for sale, but one of the first, because the rep brought them to the Chicago Drum Show. And this is Bob's 1976 18-inch 2002 Black Label Ride model, which is in the mid-15s. Okay, so let me just play. I have morning hands, as it's said sometimes, but I'll do my best. I just smacked my hand against the hi-hat. Ouch. Let's sit here and wait until that starts to bleed. But anyway, so here I am, looking forward to the Monday unboxing / playing. Hang on. So that'll happen, okay? Maybe I'll do a live chat later tonight if anybody's around. If you're able. Maybe I'll do one tonight. We'll see what happens. So be aware maybe for a live chat. Remember, today is Saturday, April... well, it's right by tax time, I know that, because I just sent my tax payments in. But again, as always, seriously, I really do appreciate all the subscribers to Bonzoleum and to Bonzology and the PFOZ guys. And so, more videos on the way. I'll have my new kit set up here. I'm going to change things around here, because it's all kind of the same thing. And I'm going to go back to making more like instructional videos on Bonham and other stuff. I need to recommit myself. Otherwise, I'll get committed. So, yeah. So have a good weekend. Keep your eyes peeled for a possible live chat tonight I could do here from Bonzoleum headquarters in Chicago, Illinois. Have a good weekend if I don't see or hear you. Or if I don't do the live chat. And there was one more thing. Oh! And then, hang on. I want to thank... Hang on. I played a gig last November at the Arcada Theater with the Kashmir guys, and a fella gave me this right off the top of my head. I can't remember his name, but it was this is like the drummers, it's the Bonzo Academy Award. God, was it Keith? Oh my God, my brain is fried. I'm very sorry. But look at that. Isn't that kind of cool? He made this on a 3D printer himself. Ooh, look at the firm butt cheekery. I wish I had firm butt cheeks. Let's put this back. Anyways, very seriously kind of him to give me that statue. So, again, more videos on the way from Bonzoleum Studios. Thank you again. Please subscribe if you haven't to Bonzoleum, Bonzology, and PFOZ. Have a good weekend. Again, maybe a live chat tonight, Saturday. I think it's April 12th. April 13th. Thank you.